Hey everybody, hello, welcome to It's Go Time. My name is Michael Forrest, and yeah, let's get going. Before we can get going here, let me ask if you can all stay off of this raised up stage area here. This way nobody blocks this big display behind me, and I got a little bit of room to move around, the whole hosting thing, right? Also, if I can direct your attention to the menu wheel in your lower right, you're going to notice a microphone icon at the very top, and on that microphone icon is if that is clear, then we can hear you and what's happening in your environment. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn that to red. I see it's already been done. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, when that's red, that means that you mute it, and we won't be able to hear what's happening in your environment. And my slides fell over. Hang on, what's in here? Here we go. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, if that microphone's red, that means you're muted, and we're not going to hear what's happening in your environment. So if somebody comes into your space and says, "Hey, are you still on that thing?" We're not going to hear any of that. So feel free to answer them. Or likewise, if you have like a dog barking in the background, well, that means that like you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its go time. Now, just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. Notice that there is a pink cheek smiley face in your menu wheel, and when you press on that, you're going to notice a emoji panel opens up in front of you, and you have a wide variety of options which to express yourself. If, for example, I share something really deep, something meaningful, something powerful, and it touches you down deep and it starts to build up, you can just let it out and let it flow, just like that. If I got some backup dancers backstage, maybe, right, and they come out, and we break into It's Go Time the musical, and you're all very impressed, you can throw up the applause that I live for, like that, right? And you'll take a minute to drink it all in because it feels good, right? Like that. If I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say, yes by smiling like that. You can, say no by frowning like that. If I say or do something funny, you want to show me that you think it's funny, you can throw up your silly face emojis like this, just like that. And then there's this. This is not how you ask questions. We will be taking questions and comments at the end, but when you do this, this is to alert me, that there's a problem, right? So like maybe I'm up here and I'm waving my hands around like this, and you're like, wow, it looks like that guy's talking, but I don't hear anything, right? Then you go like that. Now, if I see just one hand, go up like that, well, I'm just going to keep on going. But if there's 5 of them going up, I know there's a problem. Like maybe the display behind me, maybe that's caught on fire. Sometimes that can happen because our mods tend to have like a sense of humor, right? And they sometimes they get a little carried away. Sometimes they turn against me, like that. I try to be good to my mods, but sometimes they just set the stage on fire. I don't know what it's about. All right, so you get the general idea. Now you can press X to close this emoji panel, but you can also, keep it open. It's a good way to give me feedback. But more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing, right? So if somebody's like next to you and they're going like this, that means they think something happening is funny, right? And you may not agree. You might, be like, "Cool, that's not funny at all." And then you can go stand over here, and you can do that. You're like, "All right, pretty much stand wherever you want, right?" All right, cool. So that's basically what that's about. Now, Go Time is an event for Oculus Go users, but all are welcome. So if you're on another device, feel free to hang out. Right, you may pick up some information, that helps the very large Go community that's in Altspace. There's a lot of Go users in Altspace, and there's a lot of challenges being on Altspace on an Oculus Go. Right. Speaking of challenges, I've been in bed for the last year or so due to a medical condition. It's gotten a lot better, but when I first started out in Altspace, man, I couldn't wait to get in here. Right? You remember that feeling that you first had when you first put on a headset, and that feeling of being taken away to another world, right? I was really psyched for that, and I had been reading about Altspace for a while, so I couldn't wait to get in here. It was my first stop, and that very first time I stepped onto the load screen for the very first time, the first thing I did was I looked up. Right? And when I looked up, I saw the sky, and that sky looked a lot like what I remember a sky looking like in the real world. And I was grateful. I was so grateful. I started volunteering right away, like that first day, And, so I started, moderating for events and stuff. And I found that I couldn't make it through entire events. My battery wouldn't last, and I'd have to charge up. I'd have to come back into Altspace. I'd have to try to find the event host and explain why I flaked out. So I got off to kind of a rough start in the beginning. And but I started asking questions. I started asking, like, what can I do to improve my performance? And the answer to those questions led to this event. Right? And in the beginning, I heard some stuff. I heard, like, for example, this laser pointer here, I was told on an Oculus Go I wouldn't be able to work this. And you know what? That turned out to not be true, right? I was told that this display behind me, this giant display, I was told that I wouldn't be able to, to move the slides around like that on an Oculus Go. And that turned out to not be true. I was also told that despite having a background presenting material like this, that I wouldn't be able to, to host events in Altspace, my device wasn't reliable enough. You know what? That turned out to not be true. I hosted, events for many months very successfully on Oculus Go, and you can too, right? That's not to say that there aren't problems being on the go. There absolutely are, but most of these problems are solvable. And, the ones that can't be solved are absolutely manageable. And I'm going to show you how to do that. There's two paths you can take. The first path is, to work with the equipment you already have, right? We're going to go over some stuff today where before we even leave here, you're going to know some stuff that's going to vastly improve your performance and your experience in Altspace. Likewise, you can also upgrade your experience to exceed the limitations of your device. And I say it this way because, listen, there's a lot of language that goes around here in, some people will say like an inferior device, you'll hear weaker device, you'll hear lesser device, you'll hear limitations of the device. I can't stand that term, right? Because listen, if somebody tells you every single day that they don't like your shirt, right? After a while, you're gonna start thinking, it's not their shirt that they don't like, right? And, it doesn't feel good when you hear these terms, but you got to remember something, right? There's another term that gets thrown around Altspace an awful lot, and that's communities. There's a lot of rich, diverse communities represented in Altspace, and you have to remember, right? First of all, the Oculus Go is a really wonderful device. It's a great introduction to VR, right? If I'm on a Quest now, but if I started out on a Quest, I don't think I would have stayed, right? With the Go, you don't have to worry about vertical movement. You don't have to worry about the complexity of two controllers, right? And you can kind of get used to VR at your own pace. It's a really great introductory device, and I love it. And I feel about the Go the way most people feel about their first car. And you have to remember something. If you hear terms like this, you have to remember that you're not your device any more than you're your house or your car. And I find if you hear stuff like that, it's important to keep in mind, right? All right, now let's start with the device you already have on your head, right? You may not realize this, but when you're not using your device, it loses power, right? So if you put your headset down on a table at night, right? And it has 100% battery charge. By morning, it's going to have a lesser charge because your device is busy when you're not using it. It's busy looking for updates, to the apps, to the firmware. Maybe it has a pen pal on the other side of the world. Maybe it's got a whole secret life you don't know anything about, right? Maybe your headset's a superhero and you're not even aware of that, right? It's got a whole secret life. It's going to bring justice to virtual reality. But yeah, so basically it's going to lose power when it's not in use. And so your job, first and foremost, is to make sure that when you come into Altspace that you have 100% power, right? And the way you do this is it's like, let's say you're at altvr.com and you figure, what am I going to do tonight? And you look at the schedule, what's coming up, and you're looking at the events, like what events am I going to go to tonight? And you see, oh, there's Go Time. I've heard great things about the host. I heard he's really dynamic. I heard he's got amazing hair, and he's got that shirt that you start to see everywhere, right? Well, what you want to do is you want to plug in your device about an hour before the event starts. Because if you come into Altspace with like 20% power, you're going to notice that your screen's going to flicker around a little bit. But the closer it is to 100%, the better your device is going to perform. All right, so that's where you want to start out. Also, you're going to notice that, when you first put on the headset, right, and you should make this a habit, okay, because all that things where it's like looking for updates and stuff, that builds up a lot of temporary files, and that takes up memory, right? So that's going to affect the performance of your device. So the very first thing you want to do when you get your headset on is, that middle button that you press to turn your device on? If you press and hold that button, and don't do this now, but if you press and hold that button for about 4 seconds, right, you're going to see these 3 buttons appear in the air in front of you. So make that a habit. As soon as you get your headset on, press and hold that button 4 seconds. You'll see those 3 buttons appear in the air in front of you, and that middle button will say restart. You press that restart button, and your device will reset. It's going to clear out all those temporary files. I like to think of it as clearing my mind before I come to Altspace. Chris, I see you got your hand raised there. We were taking questions at the end, so hang on to that, okay? All right, so I said that at the beginning, but you weren't here, so I'm saying it again, so this way your hand doesn't get tired. Because I'm thinking if you stay like that for the rest of the rest of the performance with your hand up like that, he's gonna be like, man, this guy's good, but man, is my arm tired. All right, so here we go. So there you go. So let's see. Now you can also, if you're going to notice that occasionally in Altspace, your hand might be here, right? Your real world hand might be here, but your avatar's hand might be like way up here, right? And when that happens, your body language is going to be less convincing. Like, if you're in an event like this, because a lot of people, in Altspace, you could say so much without actually saying anything. Like, say you're in an event like this, and a moderator comes up to you, and they start shaking their head slowly like this, right? Without them saying a word, that means don't do that thing, right? And like maybe somebody makes it up onto the stage, right? And I start going like this with my hand, right? Well, you can tell without me saying a word. That means, get off my stage, right? Now, but what's going to happen is occasionally you're going to notice your real world hand is here, but your avatar's hand is up here. And when it doesn't match like that, when I go to wave somebody off the stage, all anybody else is seeing is my hand waving around like this, and it looks like I'm saying, hey, everybody, welcome to Go Time. And I'm not saying it. I'm saying stay off my stage. It's a very dangerous place, right? So what you can do to fix this if it should happen to you is what you want to do is you're going to notice on your controller, you have a trackpad, and below that you have a button, and below that you have a button. That bottom button, don't push just now, but you got to think of that as like your eject button, right? When you press that one time, it's going to eject you out of Altspace, and you'll have an option to quit or resume. If you press resume, it'll bring you back into Altspace, which is great if you press this button by accident. Because like, let's say, you're at the university dancing around, you press the button by accident, right? All you do is hit resume and you'll be brought back in, no problem. No one will even, know you were gone. Maybe you skip for a minute and you'll still be dancing around going, did anybody notice that? I hope nobody noticed that. All right, but the way you fix this is that you hold your hand at your side, right? And that bottom button, that eject button, it does something else. If you hold that button down for about 3 or 4 seconds, you're going to see a white circle spin in the air in front of you, and then your hand is going to snap into place. And this you can try now. If you look straight ahead and you press and hold that bottom button there, while looking straight ahead, and you have your hand at your side like this, right? That white circle will spin, your hand will snap into place. I saw somebody just did it because you can actually see like the person like snap into place like that, right? And now when that happens, take a good look at your hand and ask yourself, is this where my hand is in the real world? If it is, then you're good, right? If it's not and it doesn't feel comfortable, then do it again as many times as it takes until it feels like, hey, this is actually where my hand is, right? And this is going to make your body language a lot more convincing in Altspace, and that could actually, affect how you communicate with people. All right, now also occasionally you're going to notice, you see those circles on your lower left? Well, your menu button, your microphone button, your emoji, button, all that, right? Occasionally you notice that this panel moves around in Altspace, right? And sometimes it's going to move to places that you can't reach. Like sometimes it'll move behind you. Or maybe it'll like move right in front of you and it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable and off balance. I see somebody nodding, right? That means this has happened to somebody, right? Thumbs up, yeah, this has happened to you? All right, cool. Well, guess what? Your main menu is in your hand at all times, right? Now on your controller, just below the trackpad, that button that's in between the trackpad and the bottom button, so the middle button, right? If you look straight ahead and you press that one time, your main menu is gonna open up. So anytime you can't reach your main menu, you can get to it on your controller, right? Now also, it's an added benefit of if you're looking straight ahead when you do it, and you press the middle button one time and your menu opens, and then you press it again, your menu closes. If you do that while looking straight ahead, that's going to reposition your menu panel there. So anytime that menu moves around, right, all you do is open and close your menu on your controller, and then all the circles will go back to where they're supposed to be. So that'll help you out. That should happen. All right, now occasionally, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got when I first started out and I was running out of battery power all the time, right, is somebody told me to turn down my brightness. And I didn't want to do it, all right, because I want to have the best graphic experience I could possibly have in Altspace. And to me, that meant having my brightness turned way up, right? And, well, I saw it, but I got tired of running out of battery power, so I figured I'd give it a shot, right? I mean, I had it up at like retina burning levels. It was painful, but my graphics were awesome. Or so I thought. Right, so what I did was when I came into Altspace, I would, on the Oculus main menu, I would go over to the right-hand side where it's the settings, right? And then right in the middle there, it would say brightness. I turned auto brightness off, and then there's a big blue bar that shows you brightness, right? And every time I came into Altspace, I would turn that bar down a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little more, until finally the brightness was completely off. And I came into Altspace, and I couldn't believe what I saw, right? We used to have this event where I would go, and where I learned how to moderate, and all the mods would hang out under this tree that was in the corner there, right? And, that's where I first started out. So, I'd go over to that tree like I usually do. And as I'm walking up to that tree, I'm looking up at the thing and I can't believe it. It looks so real, right? The graphics had actually gotten better. I see you waving there. I see what's going on there. Hey, how's it going? We're taking questions at the end. If you're trying to get my attention, we're taking that in a few minutes, all right? But I couldn't believe how real the tree was looking. See you waving too. Hey, Mason, what's up? And I couldn't believe it. So basically, if you turn down that brightness, not only are you going to experience better graphics, your device is going to experience better performance, but most importantly, your battery's going to last longer. And I started making it to the end of events with this. I found out that people hung out after events. I didn't know that before that. So I want to keep going, and I realized that, I'm going to have to address this power issue, right? But around that time, I also became aware of that Go users in Altspace didn't have the best reputation, and I found out why, right? And I'll tell you, if you're like, let's say you're in a campfire, and you got to understand that the microphone on the Oculus Go is very powerful. So when the sound comes out of the ear straps, sometimes it can be picked up by the microphone and projected out in Altspace. Now in Altspace, we don't know what we sound like when we're speaking, when we're making make noise and stuff. We don't know what these sounds or avatars are making, right? As a matter of fact, I've been in Altspace for a long time, and only very recently did I get to hear what I sound like here, right? Because now we have this YouTube channel. If you notice, we've got Raven Eye floating up in the air up there. That's our YouTube channel. If you want to wave out and be like, "Hey YouTube, how's it going?" You can do that. We got in the blue shirt. We got Eli 6456 here, right? Is that a family name? All right, we got Crab Legs 23 here in the green. We got 7 video games in the orange. We've got Cool Sniper here in this, I don't know, it's gray or is this white? Very sharp looking. No, it's very nice. But yeah, that's who we got in here. So, if you come on in Altspace, we're having a good time. That's good stuff. So if you want to wave to the camera, you totally can. But I didn't know what I sounded like in here until I got to see that YouTube channel. And, so like, and what can happen is if you're just starting out and you go into the campfire and you see like a group of avatars over here and they're talking here and we're having a good time and all this stuff, and you're walking up to them and you haven't said a word, all of a sudden they turn and face you, right? And they go, "Are you want to go? Are you want to go?" Like that. That can be pretty off-putting, right? And what their experience is pretty off-putting too. They're like standing here, they're talking with their friends. They're like, "Hey, cool sniper, did you hear about that thing that happened? It was cool. Maybe you should snipe it, right?" You'll be talking amongst themselves, and all of a sudden they hear a voice, and they turn and they fix that voice because that voice sounds incredibly familiar. Basically, they're hearing their voice coming out of your avatar, and with the sound delay, it's like slightly like in the past, right? And it can make you hard to talk to because basically it's like when somebody's copying it, it can throw you off, and it makes it hard to concentrate on the conversation. Fortunately, it's really easy to manage this when this happens. What you're going to notice is on the top of your headset, you have 2 buttons on the very top left. One button on the very leftmost button is the volume down button, and just next to that is volume up button. And when you press either of these, you'll see these vertical bars appear in the air in front of you. Some will be solid and some will be clear. What you're going for is 4 clear bars on the right-hand side. Basically, it means that your volume is 4 ticks away from the maximum, right? And then when you set it to this level, your microphone's not going to pick up the sound as easily as it did before because the volume would be lower, right? And so you come in like that, and you're going to find that people are, pretty much nice to you almost right away. The problem is this comes at a price. You may have to train to hear people occasionally, right? And what you can do is remember that you still have one good hand in the real world, and you can use it. All you have to do is take that left hand and hold it up to your ear, and when you cup it to your ear like that, right, you're going to notice, and try it now. Take your left hand and put it up to your ear like that. You're going to notice when you do that, the sound of my voice increases. So you have a way to temporarily raise up the sound when you need to. But one surefire way to fix this is to get a pair of headphones and attach them to your device. And after that, the only sound coming out of your avatar will be your own. In my case, even a pair of inexpensive earbuds will work. In my case, my wife, she went to the library and she got this audiobook, right? And they gave her a pair of free earbuds. And she came home, she goes, "Look what I got," right? And sadly, they've been missing it for that, But good news, they reappeared a short time later attached to my device, and they remain to this day. She says I stole them. I say I acquired them creatively to solve the problem. All right, but this got me thinking, what else can I add to the device that would improve my performance, right? And, start doing some research. I was asking around, and this is mainly what led to this event, because I came up with what I call a Go Plus experience. And I call it this because I would go into worlds that were heavy performant, that would normally typically crash. Go users, you see like the Go user, they disappear in the ground, they disappear out loud, or they just vanish completely as they crash. And I would remain there. And yeah, my screen would get a little bit choppy sometimes, but for the most part, my device was performing better and it became super reliable, and yours can too. And to tell you how I did that, I'm going to have to discuss these products up here. But before I do that, I need to tell you that these are not the only products that work, all right? It's the ideas behind these products that matter, all right? So I'm going to tell you how I solve these problems, and these are the products that I use, so I feel comfortable recommending them. But other products are going to work. It's the ideas behind them that matter. But if you'd like to try any of these, the temptation is going to be to write them down, right? You don't need to. It's difficult to write things down in VR, but you can find these very easily by going to altvr.com. And if you go up to where it says channels, you're going to see a list of all these Altspace event channels. And you'll see like Ravenhall events, there's a booth there among them, down toward the bottom. If you click on that, you get taken to our event channel, and you're going to see all these products listed on the left-hand side, along with the join Discord button. If you want to hang out with us, ask questions, things like that, you can find us there. If you need to contact us for any reason. Also, you'll see the most important button on the internet, the subscribe button. And when you press this, bells rings and angels get their wings and all that kinds of good stuff. But mainly, and let's Altspace know that you enjoy our content. We don't get paid to do this, and whenever we see that number go up, it makes us feel good. So if you enjoy today and you enjoy our content, it's a nice way to say thank you. All right, so let's see here. We have, I'm just going to tell you what these products do here. We have the Anker Power Core battery pack. All right, and see, Oculus says to not use their devices while they're plugged in. I see your hand going up there. All right, we're going to be taking questions at the end there, 7 video games. All right, so just hang on to that. We're almost there, though. Just hang on. All right, so the Power Core battery pack, that was, I figured would solve my problem, because Oculus says not to use their devices while they're plugged in. And I figured, this would be a great place to start out, because they say it is cool to use an external battery pack. So, I got the Power Core battery pack, and as soon as I got this, at the same time I ordered it, I also ordered this MagSafe cable here in the middle. Because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when you plug in your device, that port that you plug it into, it's very tight. All right. And I had heard after months of use, people were starting to have problems charging the device. And I figured, that port was very tight and all that wear and tear. Eventually, those connections would become loose and it wouldn't charge as effectively. The MagSafe cable solves this by leaving one tip in the device and the other tip goes into the battery pack there. And it's held in place by a magnetic connector. And this is a great safety feature too, because if you turn your head while you're in VR and the cable gets pulled on, well, your whole headset's not going to slide down the side. You're not going to be going, what's going on, right? What'll happen is that it'll just pop right off. And you don't even have to come out of VR to fix it. You can just hold it up like this to the side of your headset and it'll kind of thunk into place. And then if your microphone's open, it'll make a sound, that thunk sound. And your friend's going to be like, what was that? And you'll be like, that's power. That's what that was. You don't have to say that. It's not going to make it work any better. It's just something I used to like to do. So feel free to use it. Also, now, so when I had this all set up like that solved my power issue. I started lasting longer on Altspace. That battery pack that's up there, it lasted about 16 hours, right? I didn't think I'd ever need to be in VR for that long because I like food, water, sleep, that kind of thing, right? And, but I had a new problem. I started overheating all the time. Now that I can last in VR, I would overheat constantly. Anybody here overheat a lot, right? Well, guess what? You don't have to, all right? You could make it so that you never overheat again. Now, I had heard around that time that some people were, they were using ice packs for their headsets. Now, I don't recommend doing this because, listen, you get condensation when you use an ice pack, and that's like water, and your headset operates in electricity, and water and electricity on your face, probably not a good combination. And, I did notice around that time, too, that the people that were doing this, they went through more than one headset. So you're going to run the risk of damaging your headset if you use that method. Fortunately, there's another way, all right, another safer way, is you can use this AC Infinity mini fan here, right? It's real small. It fits in the palm of your hand. Right, it's super lightweight. You won't even know that it's really on the headset. All you have to do is make sure that the silver part is facing the headset, and you gotta hold it in place. Some people use string. In my case, I acquired creatively some hair bands from my wife, and I wrapped them around the straps, and I crossed them over there, and I wrapped them around the rubber, round rubber feet on the fan, and I came into Altspace to test it. Now, there's an event in Altspace, the meditation event. It's held in a really cool space. It's on top of a mountain. You guys should check it out. There's like fog and there's smoke coming up from the bowls, and it's just a really great space. But for some reason, whenever I helped moderate there, I would overheat exactly 20 minutes in the experience. And it was always 20 minutes every time. So I figured this would be a great place to test this out, right? So I went to the event, and I came in early because I was moderating, and I went up to the event host, Jeremy. He's a super nice guy, and I asked him, I said, can you hear my fan? And he said, no, not at all. Right? Because this thing is like whisper quiet. So I turned the fan up to medium because it's got 3 speeds. I turned it up to medium, and he says, I can hear that, but it's not so bad. So I turned up to full blast, and before I could even ask him how it was, he's like, I can definitely hear that. You sound like you're in a wind tunnel. Are you okay? And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to turn that back down. I turned it back all the way to low just to see how it would do. And spoiler alert, I never had to turn it up again. Right? So on the lowest setting, this is what happened. I went 20 minutes in, and I didn't overheat. And I was, at that point, happy. I was like, it's working. Right? Then the event finished. I didn't overheat at all, but I wanted to find out where the line was, so I kept going. I went to the second event, right? And I didn't overheat once. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I went to a third event, didn't overheat at all. And then I went back to my home space, I hung out with my friends for a while, and then it happened for the first time. I left Altspace because I wanted to. I left by choice because I was tired. I didn't leave because I was forced to. I didn't leave because I was overheating. I didn't leave because I ran out of power. I left because I actually wanted to. And it was the first time ever since I came in Altspace that ever happened. And it wouldn't be the last time. After that, I got super involved. I started hosting events. I started moderating events. And you can do that too. All you do is make a couple of small adjustments to your headset, and none of this stuff is very expensive. This fan here, this is only about $10 or $11 US. The MagSafe cable is about $7 US, and the battery pack's the most expensive thing up there. That's about $50 or $60 US. But you got to remember, you don't have to use that particular model. They come in different sizes, capacities. They even come in different colors, right? So shop around and find out what's going to work best for your needs. If you're only in VR for like 3 hours a night, you're not going to need a battery that's going to last 15 or 16 hours, right? So after this happened, right? There was still, it improved my experience a lot. My device became super reliable, but there were still some problems on the device, right? And these are more annoyances than problems. And some of them I'll talk about. You have, for example, let's say I turn left to say something to Dorian. I'm standing at the campfire, I'm hanging out, and I go to turn left to face him to say something. But instead of turning left, I go straight. And I'm like, no, that was weird, right? So then I turn right to say something to CR211 there, and instead of turning right, I go straight again. And that's not what I wanted to happen. That's not what I wanted to happen at all. So I go to back up and I press down on that trackpad, but instead of going backwards, I go straight again. And I'm like, what's going on? Nothing's working. And I start to panic. I start pushing buttons. No matter what I do, I keep going straight. And the next thing you know, I'm standing inside of an admin. There is nothing more frightening than standing inside of an admin. When I was in there, I saw things about like development, user accounting. I saw the past. I saw the future. I saw something about the universe. It keeps me up at night. But what I can't even talk about. What I can talk about is how to fix this problem if it happens to you. All right. Now, if you find yourself moving in ways that you don't want to, all you have to do is take your thumb and swipe it without pushing down very gently across the trackpad. You go from right to left, left to right, doesn't make a difference. But when you get to the other side, lift your thumb completely off the trackpad and cross it over to the other side and come down and swipe it again, right? And you do this 2 or 3 times. So every time you move in a direction you don't want to, make it a habit. So if I go to move left, but I go straight, I go, okay, it happened again. Swipe, swipe, swipe. And then I move in the direction that I want to go, and I'll be moving in the ways that I want to. And that'll take care of it, because that's a way to reset touch connection. All right. Now, another thing that can happen occasionally in Altspace is that you're going to put your headset on, and this is only going to happen when you're in a rush, right? So like, you're running late and you're hosting an event, you're monitoring an event. Maybe you have a hot date, I can hear that can happen in here, right? And you're in a rush and you get your headset on, you're going to see this message that says, can't find controller. And you're like, I know I put a battery in that last night. Because that could happen if your controller runs out of, battery, pop a new battery and everything's fine, right? But occasionally, your controller and your headset will stop talking to each other. And, maybe your controller found out about your headset's secret life, right? And it's not happy about it. And they're not speaking anymore. What do? You get them counseling, and get them to give it a second go. No, all you have to do is remember this phrase, double down. All right, what I mean by this is you hold down, you don't even have to take your headset off to fix this. The buttons that are on the very bottom of the controller, if you press and hold those buttons down, what's going to happen is after about 4 seconds, a little white light's going to appear on the trackpad. And if you have your headset on, you're not going to see that little white light there. But what'll happen is after about 4 seconds, when you lift your thumb back up, you know what you will see? You're going to see that you got your hand back, right? And you're going to hop in that load screen and you're like, man, I am glad I went to Go Time. That Michael Forrest, he knew what he was talking about. Right? And now I get to be on time for my event. So if that should happen to you, you're welcome. Another thing that can happen in Altspace occasionally is your screen goes dark. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I see I'm a little over on time. But generally speaking, that means your devices run out of memory, and you can get ahead of this before it happens by dealing with it from an advanced position. All right. And so if you're going out and you're world hopping, you've just been to 3 worlds, and now your friend says, come back to my home space. I want to talk to you. Right. What you want to do is you want to press that bottom eject button, and where you said, yeah, sure, I'll be there in a minute, and just press that bottom eject button and then hit quit and then restart the app and come back in, and this will clear out your memory, and this will control when it happens to you by staying ahead of it before it happens. All right, now let's see, we're going to be opening up for questions right now. So you're going to notice on the lower right, you're going to have your raise hand button appear as if by magic. Right? So you just press on that if you have a question or a comment or something like that you want to make. In the meantime, I normally have some tips that I go over, world building tips, but I'm running a little over on time, so we're going to skip over that for today. But we do run every week, so if you do want to hear this, just come back. We'll do that. Does anybody have any questions at all? Because normally at the end of our events, we take everybody flying, and we press this cool red button on the wall, and we have this really neat effect that we do. No questions at all? Okay, cool. Well, if you do have a question, just press that raise hand button. Otherwise, I guess we could head out. All right, yeah, well, let's go push that button then. All right, so what we're going to do here is if you do have any questions and take them, for some reason, maybe that panel's not pulling up, we're going to the Ravenhall Flight Academy to teach you guys how to fly if you haven't learned how to fly yet. And we also have these hovercraft ships that you can fly, and you're about to see one. When I press this button here, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft fly by this window here, and it's going to go up over the trees, and it's going to land in the backyard there to take us away in style, right? And you can actually fly these ships at the Academy, and we can show you how. So let's head over there now and press the button here right now.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
Here it comes. There it goes. All right, so we're going to head on out. Thank you for coming, everybody. If you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with. We'll go outside and we'll meet that there. So if somebody's in a campfire and they're like, oh no, I want an Oculus Go, my face is on fire, what do I do? Tell them about the fan, tell them about Go Time, tell them how to solve these problems, helping each other out. That's kind of how we keep this thing going. So we got the hovercraft coming down here now, and you're going to see a portal comes out like this.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody. I'll see you next time.